dear viewers, and welcome to our show Diet Myths. Today we're going to be talking to you about a lot of foods that vegetarians are not probably getting. So a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins that vegetarians could be missing out on. So maybe it will give you a second thought if you are considering a vegetarian diet. And if you really are, strict about this vegetarian diet, then maybe some thoughts as to how you can supplement and what supplements to be wary of. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is vitamin B12. Now, vitamin B12 is very necessary for the humans. It's definitely very necessary for kids, especially as they're developing and growing. So we do want their brains to grow, and we want them to develop and become stronger and healthier babies. Now, a vegetarian mom will definitely miss out on vitamin B12, and it will be something that she will need to supplement. You definitely do not get vitamin B12 from plant foods. Now, there are a lot of plant foods that could contain some amounts of B12, but these B12 have been found to be inactive. So that means once we consume it, we really don't get much of it. And the popular food that has an inactive form of B12 is spirulina. Now, spirulina is a green powder, and a lot of vegetarians, consume it to get the vitamin B12, but you really don't get much of it. If you really are a very strict vegetarian, then like I said, what you can do is get vitamin B12 from supplements. Otherwise, you could refer to seaweed. So some forms of seaweed, like nori seaweed, could actually contain some amounts of B12 in them. Otherwise, if you can have some dairy products or egg, you could get your vitamin B12 from them, and then you can still continue a vegetarian lifestyle and not really have to focus on red meat or chicken. So we've got more nutrients to cover. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So let's look at other nutrients that we will be missing out on if we are considering a vegetarian diet. So next thing that comes to mind is DHA. DHA is also known as omega-3. So I know a lot of us had this omega-3 craze, and we all want to get our omega-3 supplements. Now, a lot of research has shown that if you are not on a vegetarian diet, then you don't necessarily need to supplement with omega-3. The main sources for omega-3 are the fatty fish that we find. And with these fatty fish, you get enough omega-3 and you actually get your need out of it. Now, if you are a vegetarian or you're considering going on a vegetarian diet, you will be missing out on your omega-3 dose. Now, I know things like walnuts and flaxseed do contain some omega-3s in them, but they're not the same, or they're not as bioavailable, so your body doesn't absorb them as readily as it does absorb omega-3 from the fatty fish. So maybe if you can have your fatty fish every now and then, this will give you your omega-3. Otherwise, supplements will always do. And now another very big and surprising vitamin that you could miss out on if you are following a vegetarian diet is the vitamin D. Now, we know the main source for vitamin D is sunlight, But if you're not someone that's exposed to sunlight all the time, then another source of vitamin D could be from animal products, especially the animal's organ meat. So you can get it from the animal's muscles as well as liver. But if you're not eating any of this, then you're probably relying on vitamin D from plant foods, which isn't, again, as bioavailable or readily absorbed in your body as vitamin D that you get from animal food. So if you're not someone that goes out in the sun all the time, and you definitely are not a fan of eating animal products, consider supplementing with vitamin D, or at least consuming products that are fortified with vitamin D. Now we've got a couple more nutrients to cover, so please stay tuned. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of muscle and bodybuilders, talk about how they're taking these creatine supplements. Creatine is a substance that you will only get from animal products because it is stored in the muscle. So once you eat, a piece of meat or chicken, and especially once you eat it with the muscle, you are getting high doses of creatine in it. Now, for vegetarians, they're probably not getting any creatine. As a matter of fact, many researchers put people on a vegetarian diet where they were allowed to eat eggs as well as dairy products, and their creatine level and their muscle mass actually went down. And they realized when they supplemented these vegetarians with creatine, they actually had more muscle mass. So when they went to exercise, they actually built more lean muscle. Now, this doesn't work if somebody is already eating animal products and then decides to supplement with creatine. So if you are eating animal products, don't worry about supplementing with creatine. You don't need it. You are already getting it from the animal products, and you probably are building a decent amount of lean muscle mass. And now the last substance that I want to talk about or cover is iron. Now, you've heard a lot of vegetarians complain about iron deficiency anemia. So they don't get much iron when they're on their vegetarian diet. And that's because we have two types of iron, heme and non-heme. Now, heme iron is the iron that comes from animal products, and that's the iron our body readily absorbs and has no problem in absorbing it. The plant-based iron really competes with a lot of things like the tannins in teas and coffees and these drinks. And that's why when you are considering a vegetarian diet, definitely supplement with iron to avoid iron deficiency anemia. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you all next time.